Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talking Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we are looking at some fully trimmed seat covers for the Triumph TR6. Now, as I'm sure most of you are aware, TR6 has had 5 different versions of seats originally from the factory. This is the kind of middle ground era of production around 1972, mostly seen in the North American market. We refer to them as the fixed headrest versions of the seats for the very obvious factor they have this incorporated headrest in it, and it's a fixed headrest. It does not move. The earlier version was called the tilting or tipping headrest, which was very similar, a bit more cumbersome and bulky up here, but it's because the headrest actually folded down like that. And then the very last version, which is the commonly seen TR6 seats, had detachable stalk headrests as per this photo here, and that version of seat there is the one that most people are familiar with. Of course, check out the description below, as I've got more information on these things and some useful links to other videos that I've done showing those other versions of seats, and of course links to our website for more information, and of course where to buy the relevant parts for these specific seats. So yes, like I say, these are the North American CC above 50,000 fixed headrest seats. We've done them in Jonathon vinyl, which is an original combination for this era of Triumph. Jonathon being a sort of brown colour. Ambla vinyl, very commonly seen on the TR6 cars for their trim panels as well as their seats. They did offer a leather option, which was commonly leather faced, i.e. the bits that touch your body as you sit in them are leather with the backs and the surrounds in vinyl. We can also offer a full leather version where the backs and surrounds are also in leather. Bear that in mind. But for Vinyl Ambla, they used on the pleated panel these small diamond embossed patterns on the pleated panel, as you can see there. We're one of the only companies in the world that can offer that, so just bear that in mind. These seats have been supplied by our customer, who's a European customer, who sent us his seat frames. We've then stripped them down. We've actually completely stripped them, then sandblasted, powder coated, painted, and retrimmed them using new diaphragms, webbings, seat foams, and of course the seat covers, which are the obvious parts here. And then we fully trim them up, and they're going back out to Europe shortly. So yeah, they look great, as you can see. This is, as with all of my videos, this is kind of meant to be shown as a benchmark as to how your seats should look. Everything in terms of the way we make our seat covers is very much standardized these days. They're all cut on our in-house CNC, regardless of the material that we use. This can even cut leather very accurately. So everything's standardized. We sew our seats using a notch-to-notch system, very much like colour-by-number system. So we know for the most part that it's very hard for us to make a mistake, and things are very much standardized. So thus, if you're undertaking the work using the correct methodology, these are the results, or at least the basic results that you should be looking to achieve. If you're not, then contact us, we can help you. But I'd also say a word of warning: TR6 seats, TR seats in general, are not particularly straightforward to trim. They're very much over-engineered seats. Nothing was particularly logical. Unfortunately, that's not our fault. We just make them to the original spec, try to improve them where we can, but overall our main job is to make sure they are well made and in keeping with how they should look originally. The rest of it, unfortunately, as with classic cars, can be quite frustrating. So we're here to help, but bear in mind, these are the results you should be looking to achieve. Let's give a bit of a detail of the actual seats themselves. So they've got this element of fixed headrest here, which is applicable to the American markets. For the European markets, and that would have been the chassis number CP instead of CP, but still above 50,000, they were very much like this, apart from they didn't have this headrest element here. So if you imagine this backrest, it kind of chopped off the headrest and just carried on like that. It had a bit of a top panel there, but basically ended there, top panel, and went round like that. See the description below, because we've actually got a couple of videos on our YouTube channel showing those specific seats. But apart from that, they're very much similar to the European ones. They've got this very strange concept here that Triumph used on both the European and the North American market, where the pleated panel was effectively bridge gap in between there. It's very strange. You can put your hands down it, so you've kind of got a center foam going down there, which you trim the pleated panel to down the left and right sides. Then you can see where this kind of indent is here. That's because there's scrim pulling it in and going around the foam. But then you had the side bolster foams kind of separately to it, and then the headrest foams separately to it. I'm going to be working on some blog handbook posts that detail the best way of trimming these things, but in the meantime, if that's not live when you come to look at it, contact me, and of course I will share those photos and give you a bit of guidance. As for the seat bases, they kind of stayed the same between all the TR6s. There were subtle differences. Obviously these seats reclined, which the earlier ones didn't, so there were subtle differences in the shape of them, but aesthetically to look at, they pretty much stayed the same between all of the TR6s. It's only really the backrest elements that really radically change between them. It's worth noting it had this detachable hardboard back panel on them, carrying on from the earlier versions of the TR6 seats. So that is supplied as standard, fully trimmed, ready to clip onto the back of the framework. You get fixings that go around the outside of them, basically. The fixing that goes at the top here, you'll have seen probably in one of my earlier videos. As far as I'm aware, they're no longer available. So obviously if you have your originals, great, but if not, all we recommend you do is just re-drill a hole in the hardboard and a hole in the frame, and then use the same fixing which goes down the side here, which are readily available. So that's an easy way around that issue there. You also get hardboard panels that go sort of up to around there, the curve round, which give a nice bit of support and shape to those side borders there, where obviously the mechanisms attach on, and they go on both sides, as you can see just there. So another idiosyncrasy of the TR6 seats. Like I say, they are over-engineered. Not our fault, unfortunately. We just do our best to replicate the over-engineeredness. But yeah, so I think that's kind of covered our bases. Yeah, obviously you can see the quality of our work. Obviously we can supply seat covers, which is what we commonly do, seat foams, the other elements of the hardware, ship them wherever the parts are in the world. The US markets, North American markets, are a huge market for us. We ship anywhere in the world. We deal with a very wide customer worldwide base. Obviously, if you're localish or you want to spend the money, send us your frames. We can also source frames as well now, although no one makes aftermarket frames for the TR6s. I do keep my eye on eBay, and I have a number of industry contacts. So if you wanted to replace your frames, or if the frames are missing, or you want to switch it for a different version in the TR range, then let me know. I can look to source it, and we can do the job fully in-house like this, trim them up and then ship them out to you. Not a problem at all, so just bear that in mind. Obviously that element of things is not really listed on our website, but of course just go down the normal route, placing an inquiry for the seat covers. It's only a build a quote system, it's not final. So just do the elements of that, add some comments that, yeah, you want me to source some frames and you want us to trim up the seats, and of course I will contact you directly to discuss the details in more depth. As for the trimming of them, if you are going to be doing this yourself or a local upholsterer, this is the benchmark. This should always be the benchmark. This is why I do these videos, to prove that our seat kits work very well and to very high levels. Don't assume other suppliers out there work to these same levels. They simply do not, hence why they do not have YouTube channels detailing these things. We work to an extremely high level. That's why we've got the reputation. We're very proud of our work and our reputation, and we're very proud of the fact that we are willing to help people restore cars to the highest levels possible. So just bear that in mind. If you have any issues yourself fitting them, or your trimmer fitting them, contact us beforehand. We're more than happy to guide you through it, but everything is standardized at our end, as standardized as it can be, much more standardized than the original factory production line. So unless we've made a very glaring mistake, which is one, very rare, and two, very, very hard for us to do due to the processes we use with digital cutting and notching systems, unless there's been a mistake made, everything else should fit exactly this way here. The only other element that can hinder that is the experience of the person doing it and the time they're willing to take to do it. And of course, if you're doing it yourself, time is something that you've got. However, it's always worth noting with trimmers, as experienced as they may be in the generic art of trimming, they have quoted a price based on time, and if things start taking longer, they will start rushing and of course making mistakes, and of course they'll then just turn around and try and blame the manufacturer. We've seen and heard it all. Not to criticize trimmers at all, but that is the reality of it. And so we are here to help both trimmers and yourself, and to show that these are the results that you should be looking to achieve as a very basic level of things. So just bear that in mind. That being said, I think I've covered my bases. I hope you found it useful. Yeah, please remember to obviously read the description below, follow any links to other videos that I've got on TR6 seats and other TR products, and of course any links to our website for information and of course of where to buy these items. Please remember to like, subscribe and share with other classic car enthusiasts. Contact us via the comments section below, but preferably via our website. And of course, I look forward to you tuning in next time. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.